Let's get ready to rumble.
Yes, we're back. It's episode 119 of Hibs Ramble. It's me, your host this afternoon, Liam, and I'm joined by the fantastic, the Mr. High IQ, ball knowledge man, Mr. Craig Leach. How are we, my friend?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. Very well, especially after the performance and result that we managed to see on Saturday. Usually, when we've got a Saturday 12:30 kickoff, it ruins the whole weekend. But it made the whole weekend in this case.
It did.
You enjoy it?
I did, mate. It was one of the weird ones where it didn't. I think everybody was kind of feeling that probably this was going to be the run that we'd been on coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you actually look at how the weekend ended up panning out, like it's so important that we actually won because everybody else that we wouldn't have wanted to win also managed to win. So
yeah. And I think a lot of teams
quite...
would have been banking on that as well. Would have been banking on us not getting 3 points or maybe only picking up a point. But yeah, it's super important, like you say, just to kind of keep ourselves in that sort of conversation. I was speaking to Sean about this a couple of weeks ago. It was like if we just slip up once and fall behind, then I can just see us completely falling away. Like if the stuffing just gets knocked out of you, like if we lose and then Aberdeen, United and other teams in that win, and it maybe looks a little bit less attainable. But at the moment, it's certainly attainable to get ourselves as high up the table as we possibly can. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but we've got a massive chance on Wednesday to claw back and get ahead of Dundee United. So hopefully we can manage that. But let's talk about Saturday. 12:30 kickoff at Easter Road on Saturday. Like you say, Craig, I think a lot of people expected this run to come to an end. I think I was certainly going into the game with a lot more hope than expectation. Although I did say to you off air that I kind of had a wee bit of a feeling that we'd maybe get a result. What was your thoughts when you were heading to the ground?
That I wasn't going to be able to get a £2 pizza slice because I was running a bit late. That was my first. I was
running late as well, actually. I think I got in with like a minute to spare.
But I think the team every week pretty much picks itself. Obviously, Bowie's minutes were managed to an extent since coming back that he's now in a position to start, which was good because I think Dwight Gale was pretty much running on empty. Given what he's put in over the last sort of maybe 6 to 8 weeks. And obviously the other one was whether would Newell come back in, but obviously he's probably more suited. I wouldn't say more suited, but instead of chucking him in at a game like Saturday, he's keeping him for the 2 games that we've got coming up. Games that we're actually probably going to be on the front foot trying to win the game rather than what we thought we would have done on Saturday. But no, I didn't feel as if you normally do when you go to play Celtic at Easter Road that you're thinking, fuck, if they click, it could be a horrible day for us. I think we've been playing well enough that we know that, especially against any team just now, we're going to create chances. And it'd be whether we could keep it tight at the other end and be clinical when we had to be. And I think as the game sort of panned out, that's what ended up actually happening.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just touch back on the starting lineup. So there was 3 changes. Bowie Miller and Nathan Mariah-Welsh came in for Gail Cadden and the ineligible Kwon. Nathan Mariah-Welsh, I was kind of taken a little bit aback by the inclusion of him. I was wondering who's going to fill that gap, but I wasn't particularly expecting it to be him. I was thinking maybe move Campbell back and stick Hoylett in the 10, but I was, on the one hand, happy to see Nathan back in the squad because I think he's a proper terrier and genuinely think that games like Saturday, it really shows what he's good at in terms of putting himself about and making himself a nuisance in the middle of the park. But were you expecting him to fill in for Kwon, or who were you either hoping to see or expecting to see fill that space?
I think when you go down the list of options, I mean, we didn't really know what the situation was with Joe Newell. So I think most folk would have expected Newell to be in, and I just think it goes to show you how probably luck can play a part in football at times. Because obviously Dylan Levitt had been playing for a while. He's seems to be injured. I don't know. There's not really been much said about him. And you would have thought that more than likely would have been Alassane Amani that would have played, but
Exactly.
he's obviously suspended. So luck can play a big part. But I agree with what you're saying about Mariah Welsh. I put it on Twitter sort of yesterday or maybe Saturday after the game that he kind of epitomises that performance on Saturday, in that he's not played really for months. He was kind of in the team, round about the squad, not anywhere near the squad, on the bench, not really getting off the bench, and then to go and produce a performance like that. And the thing is as well, we've seen him again. So like the game against Rangers when he got sent off, he was like just charging about the park. Didn't really seem to have any control or discipline about his performance, but he was really controlled and disciplined on Saturday. And you've seen his quality on the ball, that he actually plays the ball into Tannadice to set Tannadice off before the first goal. And it would have been easy, and especially that early on, to sort of take a touch, maybe play it back to the right back, centre half. But he manages to play it sort of right between the two Celtic players. I don't know who it is. It's there.
McKeown's one of them. I remember it being McKeown because I turned to my dad and I went, "Thank fuck we never spent £1 million on him in the summer."
And obviously set Tannadice off. But no, I thought it was a really good, composed, disciplined performance from Mariah Welsh.
Yeah.
Like I say, given that he's spent sort of so much, he's not really played a lot of football this season.
I wonder if it's going to be a bit of a kickstarter in terms of we might see him a little bit more often from now till the end of the season. I think it will need to go on a game-by-game basis because I don't think... I mean, we might see him on Wednesday night. It could be a game for Nathan Mariah Welsh. I think the derby on Sunday, again, is also a game where I think he could probably flourish. But it's the games at home when you're playing against the teams that you're struggling to break down and are planting, 10, 11 men behind the ball. That, I think, is when Nathan Mariah Welsh might struggle in terms of there's nothing to be busy about.
Especially when you've already got someone like Campbell who's busy.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you're saying in those games, you need somebody a bit more, somebody a bit more like Newell or Tannadice who can sort of drive us 15, 20 yards up the park and try and sort of thread those balls through the lines in the final third. But I mean, when you look at, if Gray's been very much he'll give you a chance, and if you play well, you keep your spot. So it'll be interesting to see what we do come Wednesday night, because I don't think anybody who started on Saturday, maybe injuries or fitness permitting, deserves to lose their spot.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And talking about starting, we started like a house on fire on Saturday. Like you mentioned earlier on, a really nice cutting move set off by Nathan Mariah Welsh, finds Tannadice in the middle of the park, and it was like a hot knife through butter. It must have looked brilliant from where you were sat, right behind it. I know it looked good from where I was sat, but the movement and the passing and just the kind of composure to find the right ball through, and then the composure from Josh Campbell to finish it off, when we've seen how kind of rash we could have been when we were at Celtic Park, when we passed up all those opportunities. It was nice and refreshing to see that we were able to take that chance. But I mean, talk us through it, how you saw it, because up there in the corner of the famous five, you'd been right behind it the whole way.
It was weird because, I mean, when you watch it back on Sportscene, I didn't understand. I've watched it about 10 times, probably more, just to try and understand how the ball goes for our sort of left-hand side into the middle, and there's no one there.
Yeah.
There's no Celtic midfield in the gap where I'm assuming it would have been where Trusty should have been. Just completely opens up. And I mean,
Trusty and McGregor, there was like a lack of communication there or something. But
yeah, because when I'm seeing Tannadice drive forward, if I'm being totally honest, I didn't even see Campbell. I'm screaming. I was literally screaming for Tannadice to play it out to Cadder on the left hand side.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it was, but I just didn't see Josh Campbell in there. But for all we talk about Josh's, being limited technically, you can't argue with how often he finds himself in those positions in the box.
And how often he actually scores, because I can't
Yeah.
remember many chances where Josh Campbell has been in that position and hasn't scored.
Yeah.
Seems like more often than not, if he's there with the ball at his feet with a chance to score, he usually does.
Yeah, and he took it well. I mean, it would have been easy for him to maybe, because the pitch wasn't looking the greatest. Not that I'm sort of panning the grounds team. I think they've done a tremendous job with the pitch, but obviously it's the time of year that it is. The pitch is taking a bit longer to recover, and it would have been easy for him to scuff it. Maybe bobble it, or even. But I think he took the finish really well. Schmeichel was probably expecting a dink over him. And it's very easy in those positions probably to be a bit intimidated, in front of the sort of full away stand, a keeper the calibre of Schmeichel coming out at you, knowing that you've beaten, got basically a free hit through what's been the bit. I mean, they've only conceded what? They'd only conceded about 13 goals in the league before Saturday, sorry. So, I think when you put all those elements into it, Josh has done incredibly well to sort of take the chance as and when he did.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can talk about, maybe he's not the greatest on the ball when he's, as a midfielder in terms of passing and whatnot, but, the energy that he gives off and his willingness to run in behind is a massive asset for us. And like I say, you can't argue with his quality when it comes to being in front of goal, because like you said, he tends to put those ones away more often than he misses.
Yeah, and I thought, it would have been so easy for him to snatch at it that early in the game. And he's off balance as well. I don't know who it is that's tight to him, if it's Carter Vickers or if Trusty managed to get back, but someone's tight to him, and I think he is a wee bit off balance, and it's a great finish beyond Schmeichel, and you got to give him all the credit in the world. And as soon as it went in, obviously celebrated and was proper buzzing. Turned to my dad and I went, "We've just pissed him off. We've scored far too early." Because it's like you have the guys in school that were really good, and if you'd like nutmegged them or like tackled them, they would just get really angry and then start to play really, really well. That's what I feel like we were going to do to Celtic. Like, we've just poked the bear, so they're going to just come back and be really annoyed at us and cause us lots of problems. But I don't really think they did, to be honest.
I mean, it was a bit of a surprise given that how we started against them this season prior when we've played them, and also when you look at the Rangers games the Rangers game at Easter Road as well, we didn't start quickly that day at all. So no, it was refreshing to see us. I think we always say it though, if you're wanting to get a result against either of the Old Firm, you need to be at them for the first minute.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be putting them under pressure. You need to be, I think it's, make them work for it. Don't just let them have all the ball and be able to dictate how they want to play. And I thought we set up to counter them on Saturday perfectly. And it was, the right decision to bring Miller back in on that right-hand side as well for his sort of physicality.
Oh, yeah. I don't really think Maida got an awful lot of change out of him.
No.
Kuhn as well on their right-hand side up against Nicky Cadden and Jack Iredale. I mean, I was wary of Nicholas Kuhn. I think he's probably the best player in the league. Head and shoulders probably. And again, in the first half, didn't get an awful lot of joy down that right-hand side. I thought Jack Iredale and Nicky Cadden both defended against them really, really well and made sure that the attack or the presence that he's got and where he's dangerous is out there in that wide flank. And the fact that we just completely nullified him kind of reduced Celtic down to 2 dimensions instead of 3 going forward. But I'm wondering if we maybe stunned them a little bit by scoring so early and being as aggressive and on their toes as we were, compared to how we've been playing for the rest of the season. Obviously, they would have been looking at Hibs as one of the form teams in the division, got goals in us and stuff. But I don't think they maybe would have expected us to start as high intensity and score as early as we did.
Yeah, and I also don't think that they would have expected us to give the two wide men, Kuhn and Maeda, so much time on the ball at times. Because there's always that, natural instinct in you as a supporter when you see the sort of right winger or the left winger getting the ball on the touchline, you're wanting them to go out and hit them and close them down really early. But I think all you do in that instance is you leave yourself open to being a 1-2 round the corner, and you're taking out the game completely. I mean, I think Celtic played the same ball 4 or 5 times, which was sort of Kuhn cutting in for the right hand side,
Try to play it through
and it just goal kick after goal kick after goal
It
kick.
was as if I think we were catching them offside an awful lot as well. We were stepping up when they were coming forward, and that is a risky game to play, especially against a team like Celtic who have got the pace of Maeda and Kuhn, and I mean he does no slowpoke, you know what I mean? So it's a dangerous game to play, but we played it effectively, and I think that frustrated them as well. And they kind of towards the, I mean, they had an awful lot of the ball. Don't get me wrong, and tell me if I'm just got my Hibs tinted glasses on here. I really don't think they caused us an awful lot of real problems in that first half. Anyway,
Jordan Smith had to make a save at his near post for Johnston. But that was about it. I mean, I think if they still have Kyogo, Saturday's probably a completely different proposition, purely because of the movement that Kyogo offers. He does. I mean, if that's what they're spending £8 million on, man.
Can I just say this? Because I said this on Saturday. Adam Ida is the worst £10 million player I think anyone has ever spent money on, ever. I said this last season when he was in on loan. He is genuinely, and this will probably come back to bite me when he scores a hat-trick against us in the Cup, but he is genuinely, that's never a Celtic striker in a million years. Never.
Nah, the drop-off between him and Kyogo is quite...
he's really poor.
And I think it shows in the second half that it was almost like the Alamo at stages. And that's because they had Kuhn on the right, Jota on the left, and Maeda through the middle. Ida doesn't offer I don't see it anyway, doesn't offer them a lot in terms of even his link-up play. His link-up play doesn't seem the greatest.
He's a good target. I think he's just like, the way that he plays, he's like that 9, but he likes to just be in the box all the time. And I don't really think that he's got an awful lot. I mean, he's a good finisher, yeah. But if he's not
when you compare
in the box, and I don't think he's going to do an awful lot.
When you compare it to the strikers that Celtic have had sort of during, since that Rodgers first tenure, with like Griffiths, Dembele, Edward and all of that.
He just doesn't really fit the mold, does he?
No, he doesn't.
He's not as dynamic as we've been used to. I mean, you're even going back to like Gary Hooper. I mean, Samaras, players like that. I mean, they were all dynamic and they weren't one-trick ponies. But I feel like and I don't really want to talk about an awful lot about him. But
I mean, for a Celtic striker, he's got 8 goals in the league in 24 games.
What, this season?
This season. He scored 8 and 15 last season, so he's played 9
more games were in the first game.
More goals.
2 of them were in one game against us and our penalties. I think most of them were penalties last year.
So, I don't know what to spend too long obviously talking about them, but I think, really, defensively we were absolutely solid coming up against him. It was only in the second half that we found ourselves sort of being pulled and prodded a bit more once Rodgers made the changes at half time. Yeah, because obviously, especially I think if we go in at 1-0, they probably don't react that way at half time. But when Josh makes it 2-0, they have to go sort of balls out to try and get back in the game for the second half.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it was probably the perfect time for Campbell to score his second just on the stroke of half time. It was maybe a wee bit against the run of play in terms of how much we had the ball up at their end of the park. Maybe not in terms of Celtic looked like they were going to score 5 or 6 goals, but just in terms of, I mean, we had the ball up there in the first minute and then a few times, and then it was kind of all down our end. but then it's a wonderful ball in from Martin Boyle. Again, it's come from a long throw, which we've shown can be dangerous this season. A great ball in from Boyle again, and a really nice header from Campbell to get it past Kasper Schmeichel. I'm not actually too sure what he's doing because it doesn't even look like he makes an effort to go and save it, and obviously it ends up in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a little bit difficult to tell from where you sit, Craig, whether it was onside or offside, but it certainly looked onside from where I was. And then when you see the picture afterwards, you're thinking, why on earth did it take so long? Because it's about half a yard onside.
The officials on Saturday were hopeless. I mean, again, I know we'll probably get on to the other incident that happened, but this fucking rule at letting situations play out before they put the flag up is beyond. There was one
it does my head in.
There was one in particular in the first half where we actually regained possession of the ball and lost it pretty quickly. And then by the time we were under, and then we sort of gained possession again, but when we had it under control, the linesman then puts his flag up.
I don't understand then why. Why don't just don't put the flag up at that point?
I just let it play on. Because
I don't feel like...
I'm thinking that in that first instance, right, if they let play go on and it's an offside, right, we regain possession, but then we're not in control and quickly lose it again, then Celtic get it back and they score. Would that not then be deemed another phase of play? So
I think so. I think
the initial one, it just seems the amount of times that the game, and especially then there's instances where we could have broke at one point. And the linesman put his flag up, and McLean pulls it back. And I don't know how that linesman on the West Ham side, he's been involved in two massive decisions, and you can argue that he's got both of them unbelievably wrong.
Yeah, I don't get from where he's standing. I mean, it's obviously a little bit more clear when you see the freeze frame from when Boyle kicks the ball because it's Trusty's leg.
Mm-hmm.
It's playing.
But you can tell by the cut of the grass.
Exactly. I mean, it felt like in the stadium it took so long to decide whether it was on or offside.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I looked at it. Someone sent it through in the group chat, a picture of the freeze frame. You look at it and you go, well, he's onside, isn't he? Like, Trusty's foot is playing him on. And I don't understand why it takes so long to... I get that they need to make sure definitively that it's right. But if they saw the same angle we saw, then it doesn't need to take 5 minutes. It only needs to take 10 seconds. And you go, right, he's onside. Give the goal. Yeah.
That's the issue with our league. We're never going to have the finance involved to get this like sort of semi-automated thing that was in place at the World Cup, where it's instant. The ref gets a notification on his watch. Yeah. But it was good, great timing to get the goal. Again, Josh Campbell finds himself in that area. And he is unbelievable in the air.
I was just about to say that.
Even when
a lot of people are beginning to compliment him on, actually, that I've seen online and people that I've been speaking to, is that he's always challenging, and usually when he challenges, he wins the ball.
And that's both defensively and attacking wise.
Yeah,
he's really good, and he's really he really controlled that header into the far corner.
And even the one that it was called for offside from the free kick. I mean, that could have been a goal as well. It was a really good save from Schmeichel. You know, the one that I can't.
Yeah, he tips it over the bar. Yeah,
I don't know who it is that puts the free kick in, but it just kind of sails behind the Celtic backline, and it's a really well cushioned and controlled header, and it's a great save from Kasper Schmeichel. Unfortunately, it's offside, but again, it just shows you how much of a threat he is from balls into the box.
Mm-hmm. No, he is. He's really good, and it's another weapon for us as well. You know, we've become pretty decent at set pieces over the sort of course of the last 2-3 months, and that's just another weapon in the arsenal for us to use. Especially when you've got guys like Cadden who can deliver.
His deliveries again at the weekend were sensational. It's how flat they are and how much pace he gets on them.
It's no. He can do that. He can do the floaty one. He can do the floated ones. He can do whipped ones, in swinging, out swinging. It's been, and obviously as the course of the seasons went on, we're now sort of discovering really what our strengths and our weaknesses are. And that Cadden set piece delivery, even Boyle as well. Boyle's delivery's gotten a lot better.
Mm-hmm. I distinctly remember, by the way, at the start of the season talking about Nicky Cadden, and I remember going, I like the look of him, and I think that we've got a player here. And I remember you saying, "Nah, he's shite."
I probably did. See, as the course of the summer went on, and it's up until that Aberdeen game where we drew, I have probably caned all of them at one stage or another.
I mean, you're always after Kane and Josh Campbell.
I was, and I think, based on what I would want for a central midfielder, I don't think I'm far off it. But I can't argue with what he's given at the moment. I can't argue with Boyle's turnaround in form. I can't argue with the influence that Newell's had on the team before he got injured. I can't argue. I mean, I don't think I've ever really panned Rocky, but I think he's went from one level to
I tell you
to
what,
another.
If we lose him in the summer, then that's going to be, and it sounds incredible to say it because I think that last summer, if we'd have lost him, a lot of fans would have not been as bothered. But if we go the summer this year and we're not able to keep a hold of him, I think that's going to be a massive, massive hole that we're going to struggle to fill because he has been absolutely superb this season. Really good.
I mean, it's hard to even when you think back, that Aberdeen game, before that Aberdeen game was the Dundee game.
Yeah.
When we got pumped, and he made that mistake in the last minute when he gave the ball away.
Yeah.
And they went through and scored their fourth. But it's one of these, I think it's just one of these things where see when something just clicks, like he's found himself in the middle of a back three with a hell of a responsibility.
Yeah, you would never have put him in there. Like,
no, and I think he's always been sort of harshly treated. He's never been as bad as what I think people have made him out to be.
Mm-hmm.
However, he's taken on another level. Tannadice as well. The two of them,
fantastic.
If you'd have said that the two of them would be severe catalysts in us going from where we were to where we are, I'd have thought you were off your nut.
Yeah,
all of that. Even someone as reliable and as consistent as Obita can't even get a look in. Jack Iredale has been, since he's come in, he's another one who couldn't get a kick at the start of the season. Iredale and Rocky couldn't get anywhere near the team, and now they're probably two of the main catalysts for how defensively solid we've been.
Yeah,
Josh Campbell, Josh was hyped up in the summer by David Gray as being he's my guy. He then starts the season, he tails off massively, and then even he's out the squad. He wasn't even on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's, and I mean, I wasn't shy. I wanted Gray to go after that Dundee game. I thought it was time up. I remember standing in the stand when was it Sotcliffe that scored the third for Aberdeen? Given how we'd played that night, we didn't even deserve to draw that game. We deserved to win that game. Mm-hmm. And at that point that it goes 3-2, I actually remember standing there thinking, I feel sorry for Gray because there's nothing. He's now tried everything. Yeah. He's changed the goalie, he's changed the formation, he's changed the personnel within the formation, and we've just we equalise in the 92nd and they go up and score in the 93rd.
What can you do, eh? Like it's.
And I just remember standing there thinking that's it. Like time like he has to go. And I've never been more delighted to be more wrong.
Do you think this is kind of, it shows us as football fans that no matter how bad it's getting, if the squad's there, then things are going to turn around and we should maybe, like, because David Gray's not going to be his manager forever. Whoever takes the job after David Gray's gone, if there's a rocky patch, then
You got caught between Rocky and Sticky there, eh?
yeah, I did actually. A stocky
A
patch.
Ricky.
A wee Ricky Lambert patch. If there's a patch like that where results aren't going for us, do you think it's taught us a lesson as supporters to be less fickle and more like with a without trying to sound like Ben Kensel, but just to trust the process and trust what's going on at the club?
No, because I think if Gray's not who he is, he's not there after that Dundee game. Personally, I mean, you see how quick folk turned on Johnson, turned on Montgomery, turned on Maloney.
Yeah.
Like it's who, and I mean, but I suppose, you know, obviously we see games through. We can't really be objective about when we're watching Hibs because it's a passion. It's easy to look at other teams when you watch them because you've got no held interest in them and you can see why they're doing that, what they're doing wrong. But you can also maybe sometimes see what they're trying to do. When we're getting beat every week, it's difficult to then take a step back and look at it and go, right, we were just unlucky.
To be rational, and take the emotion out of that.
It's so difficult to do that. But obviously behind the scenes, they've got access to a lot more data than what we do. And you could probably go back through, I mean, how many points was it we lost for winning positions? Like 13 or something?
Yeah, it was 13 or 14, something like that.
I mean, you look at that Dundee United game, 2-1 up, with however long to go, Joe Newell gets sent off. The game where Tannadice got sent off. And you look at there's probably so many of these games, you know, the Hearts equalising in the 87th minute.
Dundee United at home.
Dundee United equalising so late on. Another couple of games where, again, I can't remember the games off the top of my head. But there was obviously something in the background pointing to they're no just shite. But it was how did we stop losing these late goals? How do we stop making these? And it was every week. You know, David Gray coming out saying individual errors. And it was. There was only one game, I think, was it maybe St Mirren at home?
Yeah.
Where we were bad. Like that. Were we 2-0 down at half time, I think?
I can't mind.
I could be talking shite.
Nicky
but there was
Cadden scored a penalty, I think, because Boyle missed one, didn't he?
Yeah, and then we got another goal disallowed really late on.
Yeah. I
think that game,
by that time.
First half, that was probably the lowest point that you could pinpoint to say that we actually played bad. A lot of the other times you can look back on it now and say we were just unlucky.
You don't see that at the time though.
No, you can, and that's what I mean, because it's hard to take a step back and be rational about it. You can't be rational about it because it's something that's ingrained in us for the day that we're born. And we're brought up with it, and we've been through all of those incredible highs, and we've been through all those devastating lows. That you can't just, you can't sit and you can't watch Super Sunday, and you can watch Liverpool and Man City, and you can understand why both teams are playing that way. Because when your team's getting beat every week, or losing points for winning positions every week, it's difficult to really look at it and analyse it and go, it's fine. So while there is an element of balance of trust in the process, I do think that because Gray, who he is, kept his job when it would have been easier, and let's be honest, at the time for the board, it would have been easier to get rid of him. So while I'm loath to give any of them any credit, we need to understand that at that moment in time
was the right thing to do. Yeah, for sure. And we've kind of went on a wee bit of tangent here, but we'll get back to the game now. Second half, obviously, they make their triple change. Jota, Schlupp, and remind me, Craig, Hatate come on for McKeown.
No three bad subs to be bringing on.
For McKeown, Taylor, and Ida. And they started how really you would expect them to start when they're 2-0 down and chasing the game. A lot of pressure on us. Again, nothing that you could really say, oh, they should have scored here, they should have scored there. They maybe had a handful of chances in the game where, I mean, they maybe could have scored a goal, the Rocky off the line clearance being one of them, but Dyson Maida gets them back into it. when he scores, the ball kind of flicks up and over from Rio Hatate. I think it's a bit of a miscue, a mishit. Sails up and over, and I wanted to get your take on it. Is it a mistake from Jordan Smith, or is it just real good determination and awareness from Dyson Maeda to manage to get there first?
Yeah, it's just Maeda all over the back, I think, and given that he never stops. I think if it's Ida, Jota, Kuhn in that position, but I do think that it's with it being such an awkward looped shot. I mean, you see when the ball takes its first bounce, Smith's kind of caught in. Like, do I go? Do I stay? What do I do?
Yeah.
And I'm loath to criticise him because he's been another, main reason for where we are in the league at the minute. He's pulled off some incredible saves during this sort of 13-14 game run. And you know what? If he's going to chuck in a mistake every 13-14 games,
I'm happy.
I don't.
Because with Bursik, it was every 13-14 minutes.
Aye. And it's hard for a goalie because, a striker can miss 4 or 5 sitters and score one and they're the hero. A goalie can make 3 or 4 good saves and drop one and they're the villain.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably a bit of both, the persistence for Maeda to get on the end of it, coupled with Smith maybe just being a bit hesitant to whether to stay on his line or whether to come out for it or not. Because I suppose if he comes out rushing out, he gives that risk of if he misses the ball and takes Maeda out. So it is a difficult one, but again, I'm loath to criticise him after the job that he's done for us.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was just me or maybe I'm remembering the game a little bit wrongly here, but it was a little bit of a barrage. But I mean, apart from that chance that Jota had, where I think it could have been a penalty for us, and you've seen them given on other days, with the push in the back of Kukarevich. IMO, I don't think it's a penalty. Don't think penalties should be given for challenges like that. You're running a risk of having 5 or 6 penalties a week if you're giving them for that.
It's one of those ones where you can't actually see, because of the position of the camera, that Miko's probably got his hand round the back holding Carter Vickers.
And I also don't think that it's a clear and obvious error not to give it. So I understand why VAR hasn't then intervened. But then on the flip side of the coin, Celtic come right up the other end of the park, and I tell you what, it's a fantastic run from Jota. Great energy because he takes it from really, really deep and gets all the way to the byline, cuts back. I can't remember who it was that he beats, who slides in. But if you watch Rocky in that clip, then
unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable.
The speed that he gets to, and he's limping because
he's hopping as he runs.
Yeah, I think that was where the challenge in inverted commas, he had a shot and his foot hit Jeff Schlupp.
Yeah.
So
that they tried to call back for a red card as well.
I mean, again, I understand why they looked at it, but then again, you're thinking, come on, just use a wee bit of common sense here.
Aye.
But that's incredible from Rocky, and again, you've used this word a couple of times, but it epitomises Hibs' season and the determination that he's shown to get back into the team and stay there and put in all these good performances and be such a massive player for us. That isn't getting talked about enough from Rocky, to be honest. That goal line clearance, that is an excellent clearance, because I think most people are moaning at Jota for not squaring it to Kuhn.
Aye, no, you're right. I think it's, again, I say that about Nathan Mariah-Welsh sort of epitomising this Hibs team at the moment with his performance on Saturday. But if you could show somebody a clip, that sums up somebody's determination not to concede a goal for Rocky, and I mean that the journey that he's been on since he scored that goal against Aberdeen has been nothing short of unbelievable. You talk about sliding doors moments and butterfly effects, and how things can change in such an instant. But the trajectory that we've been on since he scored that goal against Aberdeen, and the trajectory that he himself has been on since that goal against Aberdeen, and even the sort of mistake against Hearts at Tynecastle hasn't fazed him whatsoever. His performance at St Mirren last week, I genuinely thought he was outstanding.
He was brilliant, mate. He was
gets the
absolutely
goal,
brilliant.
He gets the goal away to Ayr in the cup as well. He's having a, and when you look at the fact that he couldn't get off the bench for the first 2-3 months of the season, is just unbelievable. And that block on the line for Jota sort of sums him up to a T. If it is the case that he
get back,
if it is the case that he leaves at the end of the season, then ability wise, I don't think you can always get somebody. There's always somebody out there better ability wise, right? There always is. Whether we can get him or not is another story. But somebody with his character and his determination and his sort of perseverance will be very, very difficult to replace, given how his Hibs sort of career / journey has went. That he's went from being almost a laughing stock and a joke figure to now people are realising that if he goes, we're gonna miss somebody that's become a hell of a centre half.
Absolutely, and so we do have quite a few players out of contract. This is transfer market that I'm looking at. I'm not too sure how accurate it is because it says that Josh Campbell's out of contract at the end of the season.
Nah, he signed a new 4-year deal 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, so that's the only one that's not right. So obviously Tannadice, Kukarevich, Bursic, and who else? And Kwon will be going back to their parent clubs. Then apart from that, you've got Lewis Miller, who's out of contract, Max Boric, Rocky Bushiri, Chris Cadden, apparently, Dwight Gale, Martin Boyle, Junior Hoylett. Now, I think if we'd have had this conversation 2-3 months ago, it would be...
I would have let every single one of them. Get rid of every single one of them. Yeah.
But I think that you've now got to try... if you'd asked me 2 months ago, what do you give to Boyle? I would have said, offer a 1-year deal, and if he takes it, then great, we've got him for another year. But if not, then he can go and maybe play in Australia if he wants to go and play in Australia or have a crack somewhere else. But now I'm thinking, put 3 years on the table for Boyle.
Pace-wise, you can tell he's lost a wee bit pace-wise, but he's now back to being as sharp as ever.
Yeah, I'd give him a new deal, 2-3 years. Chris Cadden, chuck a few years on his deal. Bushiri, if we can, tie him down to 16, 17 years. Miller, again, I think that if we lose him for free, that's a player that if we tied him down for another couple of years and then ended up selling him next summer, we'd get close to $1 million for him. I think he's a good
I do think we do need to be sensible though, in that
I don't want to be sensible. I don't want to be sensible.
I mean, if you were talking sentimentally, then we would have kept Hanlon and Stevenson for another couple of years.
Yeah.
So I do think we need to kind of take a step back and realise that as good as these players have been for the last 13 games, you need to remember what they were also like for the first 14 games. And there needs to be a fine line in the middle. When you look at the right-back situation, you've got Cadden and Miller there. Both of them are out of contract, but we've got Kanayo Megwa to come back. And Kanayo signed a 4-year deal before he went. So do you take a chance on, do you keep Chris Cadden around because of probably how he is around the training centre? He's ultimate professional, can set standards. Probably you didn't want to keep players happy, but, it must be some buzz for both him and Nicky to be playing together in the same team, a buzz for their families. So they're constantly going to be feeling great. Or do you keep the physicality and the aerial ability of somebody like Miller based on what we could get for him? Because up until now, the evidence suggests that we wouldn't get that for him. So do you go with the steady, reliable Chris Cadden?
Yeah.
Or can Chris Cadden be somebody that can help bring Kanayo on next season and even Rory Whittaker in behind them? Or do you go with Lewis Miller because he's probably got a bit more potential because he's maybe 4 or 5 years younger.
Yeah, I mean,
there needs to, I don't think it's a
both.
case of.
There's not to me.
I think as it stands right now, I think in terms of Deadwood, in January we cleared out like the Deadwood.
Yeah,
Like Doyle Hayes, McCurdy, whoever else, but I can't even remember who else went. Amos as well. Yeah, we got they're out the door. They're gone. Next season, you'll be looking at what can we do with Jair Tavares. Can we just punt him on loan again, or can we come to some agreement? In terms of the real Deadwood, it's gone. The loan players, I wouldn't want to see Miko coming back. I definitely wouldn't want to see Bursic coming back. And I think it's next to impossible that we're going to get Tannadice back. So
we just need to get the checkbook completely out.
You're looking at that squad that we looked at that was really bloated, with the players that have already left, coupled with the players that are likely, the loan players that will leave. You're then looking at, Junior Hoylett will probably go. I don't think we've probably seen enough for him to justify another year. Dwight Gale will go.
I think is going to retire.
Yeah, Dwight Gale will likely go. So really, you're looking at, signing extensions for Boyle, Rocky, Miller / Cadden. That's a really solid base for us to.
I'd be happy with that. I would be happy with that. I do think that we need to get the checkbook out for Tannadice.
But again, we can't base it on. Yeah, I don't think we can base it on this run that we're on.
Well, that's what I'm basing it on, Craig.
I know you are, but to be sensible about it, I think we need to be making sure that we're no acting off of this run. We need to, the club will need to take a real look at it and go, sort of almost, when you play Football Manager, the pros and cons to signing a player. What's the pros of keeping Chris Cadden versus the cons? Lewis Miller, Martin Boyle, and so on and so forth.
I get you.
Because you look at it, somebody like Ellie will be away in the summer anyway.
Mm.
Who else have we got? Dylan Levitt, probably another one that likely might go. We might see, because of how he's playing now, we might see a team coming in with a big bid for Campbell. There was rumours of Italian teams looking at him a couple of years ago. So it's not just about getting the actual Deadwood out that we've done. It's not just about it's not just about looking at potentially the players that are out of contract, but with the way that we've been playing, we need to be braced for bids for these players in the team coming in.
Yeah. Right, let's get on to the bit that everyone will probably be tuning into this podcast to hear about. There was a major talking point on Saturday for Celtic's quote-unquote equaliser that never was. Now, I've got it here. I'm going to bring it up and we can have a talk about it as we're looking at it. So, let me bring that back to the start. So, it's not the greatest, so please excuse. Why is this not pausing? I think I'm able to play on a loop. Right. So it's not the greatest of footage here, but it was the best that I could kind of come up with. Now, I didn't see, well, I couldn't really see from where I sit in the West Stand if the ball was out or not. What I noticed first off was the defenders and the goalkeeper complaining as soon as the ball goes in and it's given. And I thought someone must have been offside.
They don't even. It's not that it's they do it before. As soon as the ball leaves Johnston's foot, they all react that it's went out.
Yeah. Do you think it's out?
I don't think. I don't think you can prove it either way.
I don't think you can prove it either way as well, and that is the issue. It's great for Hibs because it wasn't given. We win the game, and we've got 3 points on the board. But I think from where this is right. And where that video stops, where Johnston there, where it stops there.
Yeah. The linesman can't even see because he'd have to be looking through Johnston's leg.
Yeah, I don't even think you can tell. The only way you'd be able to tell is if you were directly above it on
looking down on it, yeah.
On the goal line. And, I would feel that a team would be hard done by, but it's Celtic, so I don't really feel like they're very hard done by that.
It's one of those ones. Remember the one at the World Cup with Japan where it looked like it was miles out?
Yeah.
And the ball was slightly overhanging the the touchline. It's like take away the fact that funny it's against Celtic, Like I don't know how VAR have managed to overturn it.
I mean,
Again, that's the one where you're talking about. See, with the penalty, clear and obvious, right? VAR gets involved. There's no enough in that sort of push tug on Kukurevich to justify a clear and obvious error. I don't understand how. See that footage that you've got there, right? That's exactly the same footage
that VR,
the SFA, that VR, they get the same grainy, shitey sort of view on it.
it does look there where I've paused it that there is daylight between Alistair Johnston's leg, the ball, and the line.
Yeah, but then
It's far
you're
too
not seeing
grainy
it.
and difficult to make it out.
You're not seeing it for the bird's eye image where if you look down on it, if it's still hanging over the line. I think, based on the balance of probabilities, right, the ball is probably out.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that it's one of those that they should be getting involved to overturn. See if the linesman gives it as out.
Yeah.
I don't think they go back and check it.
No, I don't think so either. And even if the linesman did go back and did give it as out and he went back and checked it, you can't prove that the ball's in from this image either. So
No.
I mean, it's great. Obviously, they don't get the goal, but the wording that we were given was that it was a factual overturn.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that you could factually prove for or against from this angle.
No, you're right.
Unless they've got an angle that we haven't seen and that hasn't been released to the public, I assume that this will be first up in the VAR review, in February's VAR review, by Willie Collum. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got to say about that, because when I was watching then the Hearts and St Johnstone game yesterday, they were talking before the game about that VAR shouldn't have got involved if they weren't able to prove one way or another. And to be honest, I actually agree.
Yeah.
This isn't
you're
what
right.
VAR's here for, I don't think.
No, I don't think they can. They can. There's no way that they'll be able to definitively prove whether that ball was in or out. And I think it just goes again with the quality of officiating. So this is the same linesman, right, who gave Josh Campbell offside, who flagged Campbell offside. So he's thought that Campbell was offside, and he's also thought that ball was in.
Yeah.
So is it just the fact that he's wrong on? Is it possible that he's wrong on both counts? Like I don't know. I just think it's very.
I wonder if that came into. I mean, and I know that technically they go, oh, it's a decision by decision basis, but there's got to be some sort of
Well, he got the first one.
Preconception in your mind that he's got that wrong already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I really don't know. It's difficult to tell, but from what I can see here, the ball's fucking miles out, man. Seriously. So, but
I do. It's. I just think it's a dangerous road to be going down where you're, unless when it comes to that VAR review, if they can conclusively bring up something that confirms that the ball was out, the way that the camera image is there, perception wise, you can't. The only way you'd get a clear view is if you were staring right down the byline.
Yeah.
Right down the goal line, or you were looking directly down on it from above. Either way, the way that angles look, it's difficult. It's really difficult to tell either way.
Yeah.
And I'm loath to jump on it and say, "Ha, you didn't get that,
because it will happen to us.
And we've been fucked over by VAR a few times recently. Since its inception, we've been done over it a few times by it, so we know how that feels.
I think it's it's sensible for you to talk like that, because I was very ha.
Oh no, there's a part of me that is like ha. But then I also thought, there's this big Masonic conspiracy that the Celtic fans go on about in terms of the referees. But how does that work when we're the team that's benefiting?
Yeah.
Because we're not
Rangers
of that. Yeah, we're not of that persuasion.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, look at the name of the club. Like, the club literally means Ireland.
Well,
so
we look forward to Mr. Collum coming out and trying to explain that one away.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll just be a case of hands up, shouldn't have been that decision, VAR shouldn't have got involved. Because there has been a few of them, where
Yeah.
columns come out and been really honest and said, this isn't what VAR's for, this isn't how it should have been used, the wrong decision has been come to here. So it'll be interesting to see.
But I mean, it was a weekend for wrong decisions. I mean, that Eagleman's red card that got downgraded to a yellow.
That looked like a red card to me,
Yeah, like, and it got. That's what I mean. It got. I thought at the I thought he'd actually been sent off, and then I was watching Sports Scene last night, and I couldn't believe it got downgraded to a yellow.
It looked. I think their reasoning was that his feet were close to the ground, but we've found out on numerous occasions that it doesn't matter where your feet are. It's about the intent, and he goes in at about 100 mile an hour, and it's about endangering an opponent, and that for me is what he did there. And also Dre Wright as well yesterday, scoring against Hearts.
Yeah,
onside, offside, looked marginally on to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even they said in the studio after the game that they were guessing whether he was onside or offside because I don't think they could draw the lines properly. So not a great weekend to be an official, that's for sure. But great weekend to be a Hibs defender because we really saw out the game strongly and night and day from compared to the start of the season where we were throwing games away in the last 10-15 minutes. And it was like we were treating Craig every tackle, every interception, every throw in for Hibs as a goal.
Yeah, I love that. Like I'm very I can easily be bought in by somebody chest pumping the badge and kissing the badge and all of that. And somebody like Iredale, like he fucking loves playing for Hibs. You can just tell.
Oh yeah,
he just loves it. And guys like him, the way that they're all reacting when they're making these clearances or putting challenges in, or the goalie coming and claiming a corner. There's a real togetherness with that squad at the minute, and it's
really good.
Again, the majority of this run we've been without Ekpiteta, we've been without Joe Newell.
Who I thought Ekpiteta was good when he came on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, they did what he had to do.
We've been without Joe Newell for a lot of this run. Miko, I know he doesn't give much. Kieran Bowie, there's a lot of players that we've actually we've won games with Boyle and Hoylett up front.
Boyle it.
or Hoyle. So it's good. It's one of these where you don't actually, with these players coming back, we're only going to get stronger as the season comes to it. Sort of that cliche, the old business end of the season. Yeah. We're only going to get stronger
for sure. And just lastly on Saturday, it was kind of fitting that on the 2-year anniversary of Ron's passing that we were able to get a good sunshine on Leith moment for a real good performance, and obviously for Eddie May as well, who was involved in a road traffic collision earlier in the week. How good?
Yeah,
not how good was that Eddie May was involved in a car crash? No, how good was that? The fact that we got to sing sunshine on Leith at the end.
Personally, and I might catch a bit of flack for this.
Don't say it then, because I don't want.
Unless it's a cup win or a derby win, I don't like it.
I was loving it on Saturday.
But as soon as it kicks in, then
it's when you see the players. It's when you see the players singing it. That's what gets me. Yeah.
There's next season's season ticket branding already done.
Yeah.
It was quite funny though, because they all done that and Nicky Cadden was away.
I've seen that.
He was in his own sort of orchid. He was like at the opposite end of the East Stand almost. But it's quite funny because they obviously spoke on open goal. Nicky and Chris Cadden were on open goal at the start of the week, and they were talking about how Nicky's never had a sunshine on Leith moment as a player, and Chris Cadden's only maybe had one or two of them.
He had one. No, I think he's only had one.
So Cadden Derby win, Chris Cadden Derby win, and then after Paul and Lewis's last game last season.
Yeah, but that one doesn't really count.
So I'm loath to, because it's more how it looks. Or
Well, it's
you beat
fine because
Celtic,
we'll
you're
sing
singing
it
it.
here on Sunday, won't we?
But on reflection, when you look at it being the 2-year anniversary of Ron's passing, and obviously what happened with Eddie May, no, it was a nice way to finish it. And I seen there's a guy on Twitter, I can't remember his name. I don't even know if he listens to us, but he sits in the famous five, and he took a video of it, and he said it was like the X-year anniversary of his
Yeah,
dad's
his dad's
passing.
passing, yeah.
Belting out Sunshine on Leith while there was literally sunshine covering all of Leith. No, it was a nice feel good moment, and I think it's, on a day when we would have been expecting this run to come to an end, it was nice to have that moment that we're still trucking, especially with the way that, like I said, every other fucking game went. Hearts winning, Aberdeen winning, Dundee United winning, St Mirren winning. Like that weekend, if we'd have been beaten on Saturday, could not have went any worse.
Yeah, exactly. Aye.
And all that's happened is
We're
we've
just where
actually
we were
ended
at
up.
the start.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got an extremely difficult game out the way at the
Absolutely.
start of an extremely difficult week.
Yeah, for sure. I just kind of want, again, touching on Sunshine and Leith, it always tugs on the heartstrings, eh?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself ever, if we're singing it, do you ever find yourself with a tear in your eye singing it?
Sometimes I think it's and it's one of them, because we never hear it a lot. It's not like You'll Never Walk Alone, where it's before every
You'll never
fucking
walk
game.
alone. I seen actually someone on
It's
TikTok was talking about it earlier on, and they were saying, "Oh, it's not like You'll Never Walk Alone. It's not like the one at Arsenal or whatever."
that Arsenal one's fucking shite, by the way. Let me
Right.
just say it, and I'm not just saying that because I have a Spurs affinity. That North London Forever song is fucking garbage and doesn't even deserve to be in anywhere near these conversations about football songs.
No, it doesn't. But I think because we keep it for big results, and whatever anyone wants to say about Saturday, oh, it's only 3 points. It's a big result for us to beat Celtic at home. It's a big result
Yeah.
for anyone in this
The
division
only
to beat Celtic.
the only folk that are jealous of Sunshine on Leith, i.e. Hearts fans,
Yeah,
are jealous because all they've got is a song that teaches you how to spell the word Hearts.
and Avicii Levels,
That's it.
which is a good song as well. I wish we had Avicii Levels.
Used to be, not anymore.
Yeah, just reminds me of
But I know it does. It's
that song.
there's always I think a wee bit of reflection when that song goes on. A lot, the guy that I mentioned talking about his dad passing, can be moments like that, especially where I sit. That's where I sat with my granddad for 20 plus years before he passed. So I know I wouldn't say it's quite tear in the eye, but there is that wee bit of
I had a wee bit
reflection.
but it was
It does. The song does mean a lot, and I mean it's nothing to do with football, and it's nothing to do with Hibs. Really, when you think about it, but it means a lot to us as a support. It was nice to hear it.
The thing that gets me is seeing the players all together, arm in arm, singing it back to the supporters.
Block 7 must have been fucking raging, because that would have been right in front of them last season.
I mean, I don't think that would have been their first thought going through their head, but no. I mean, and it kind of again showed you the togetherness that's in the group and how much they want to fight for each other and fight for this manager and fight for the badge. And I think we're lucky at the moment to have a group of players who are as close knit as this, and we've just got to make the most of it while we can.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you. We say that near the end of the shite run, that the disconnect between the fans, the players, whatever, couldn't have been any more distant. Whereas right now, I think in terms of, and didn't take this out of context, in terms of team cohesion and that sort of feeling with the support, yeah, it is. I
was actually talking to some guy, talking to a guy. I was in the shop yesterday, and standing at the checkout, and boy had a Hibs jacket on, and I had my Leith 7 jacket on, and he turned around and he was like, "Oh, good result for the Hibs yesterday." We were talking about it, and we were just talking about how together the team feels, and he was just like, it's just giving me Stubbs vibes, like completely,
Yeah.
like this team and the relationship that they've got and the gel that they've got is just it's really, really good. And I think we've just got to enjoy it while we can, because we know better than anyone that it doesn't last forever, and as soon as it starts to fall apart, it starts to fall apart really badly, and then it'll always come back again. It's the circle of life is what they call it. But will we move on to listener questions?
Yes, let's go for it.
Now it's time to answer the Hibs Ramble listener questions.
Okay, first off, as always, John McIntosh says, go on then, tell me about dinner.
We'll talk about Saturday's dinner, because I don't know what I'm having tonight, but I went and got the Boss Box for GDK, and it was fucking unreal. One of each spring roll, double meat, all the sauces, and it was fucking magic.
Aye, I've never had a GDK actually. I'm going to need to try it because I like kebab.
But it's no typical kebab. It's like it's lamb doner meat, but it's done completely different to like the fucking elephant's leg you get out the chippy.
That's good though, isn't it?
It is. But no, it's GDK was my treat on Saturday night, and it was fucking brilliant.
Well, I came back home, and me and Megan put the bairns to bed and that, and I just kept talking about, Celtic this, Celtic that, we beat Celtic. She was like, fucking shut up, man. And I went, Kim, what? I went, I'm going to the shop, I'm getting bevies. Put the bairns into bed, went to the shop, got the bevies in, and I brought them back, and she was like, you're a fucking disgrace. And then I was like, but I got you some cans of cocktails, and she was like, what the fuck are IBs? I kept going to her as well, and I realised that this is wrong now, that I was like, it's such a massive result, Megan. We've no beat Celtic for years and years and years, but we beat them last season.
The end of the season.
Not last season, season before, aye.
Mm-hmm.
So, well. That doesn't matter. I'm not bothered about that. For dinner tonight, John, I'm having barbecue pulled pork and spicy rice.
Unreal.
I'm looking forward to that.
Big fan of
barbecue pulled pork. You're getting like me, mate.
I know.
Peter Strom says, bloody hell, how beautiful was that?
Very beautiful.
It was great. Very, very good. And same again on Sunday, please. That's all I'm
fucking hell, aye. I don't want to be one of those guys but see if I could trade Wednesday for Sunday, fucking give me it now. Just give me it.
But we don't need to choose, because we could just win them both if we wanted.
Aye, I know, but the deals with the devil don't work that way.
No, we're not dealing with the devil.
We are, because we'll move on for that.
Gav Dick says, a big win for us today. Mariah Welsh was immense, considering he hasn't been playing a lot this season. He took his chance to start with both hands. Also, shout out to Lewis Miller as well, was great as well.
We were so close.
I know. And then he says, big up to the both of them, tremendous. And then in brackets, statement, close brackets. So did you feel like Mariah Welsh was really good, and as well Lewis Miller was good as well?
Yeah, I thought as well as they two being as good as well, Rocky was good as well. Iredale was good as well.
And also very good.
As well.
Yeah. And then finally Colin McLennan says, today the official Hibs match report has the possession stats as 25% to 76%. That doesn't add up. And then he says, I hope they correct it soon. Oh, that'll be why. And then he says, what glaring error have you made and never got away with?
What glaring error have I...
I never got away with.
I don't know.
I'll give you my one. When I was in school, we'd moved into a new school building, and they had like a big bike shed, outside, like next to the Astro, and it was like a big curved perspex wall that was on the bike shed, and me and my mate kept bouncing off it. One day we were just bouncing off it, and then the inevitable happened as we went through it, and we were like, "Oh, it's fine," because it was like the day before the summer holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So we broke it, we went through it, and then we were like, "Oh fuck!" So we ended up just going home. Summer holidays came and went. Thought I'd got away with it. School had CCTV, looking at the bike shed, and they get away with that.
I don't know. I think probably maybe when I worked at Vodafone.
Oh, you're going to talk
borrowed-
about some embezzlement that you've done at your work?
No. It was not even bad as that. I'd forgot my headphones, so I borrowed like the demo headphones for the store. So it wasn't even ones that they could sell.
Yeah.
It was demo ones, and I genuinely forgot to take them back when I went in the next again day. And the manager who had a fucking, it's like he was aiming at me. He had a red dot sight fixed on me for months.
Oh, because of that?
No, not because of that. Because he was just an arsehole. And I basically, he was getting angrier and angrier that I wasn't giving him anything to hit me with.
All right.
And he used that to hit me with. Aye, that's probably the major one, like a major one that I could think of. Other ones would obviously be saying I do the dishes, Emma puts her key in the door, and the dishes haven't been touched.
And you get up and you're like, "Oh, I was just in the middle of doing them, actually."
I was just, oh fuck, it was at the time. I was just about to do that. Aye.
Okay.
Especially the last couple of months, I've not really gotten away with that because I've not really got an excuse. So,
just a wee bit of breaking news, actually, before we... I mean, no breaking news for Hibs, but Barry Ferguson has actually been confirmed.
that is the most staunch thing I think I've ever seen.
Right, hold on here, right? Barry Ferguson is set to become the men's head coach until the end of the season, and he'll be joined by Neil McCann, Billy Dodds, and Alan McGregor.
That is so. Let's look at this, right? So you've got Barry Ferguson, whose last job
Was Alloa.
was toiling at Alloa. Billy Dodds, whose last job where he toiled at Inverness.
Billy Dodds toiled on the radio. Never mind
Neil
in a
McCann.
radio.
Neil McCann, whose last job he was
Dundee.
toiling at Dundee, and Alan McGregor, who's just not long stopped playing. This, I'm not joking, right? We could genuinely be seeing the absolute peak of the banter years. Like we thought what we seen before, but this could be next level. This will either go one of two ways, right? This will go unbelievable for them.
Do you think this is worse than McCoist, McDowell, and Jimmy Nicholl?
Nah, because that was the. Nah, Jimmy Nicholl wasn't there at that time.
Or was it not?
Jimmy Nicholl, no, he was with Stuart McCall. This appointment and what could follow could be up there with him having the manger on the pitch for the AGM. That's where I'm putting this. This is the big host must stay open between the levels of patter, I think. Like, I mean, there's what? How many games are left of the season? 11 games, and they're, 10 points behind?
Yeah. I don't...
Oh, no, they're 13 points behind, sorry. And they're at both cups as well, aren't they? But they've got a chance. They've got a chance in Europe, and they've actually, as hard as it is to say, they're actually a decent team in Europe.
Yeah.
They've literally went down the route of blood, thunder, passion, sweat and tears.
Yeah, give it Fergie till the end of the season.
Aye, by getting them in. And it'll go one of two ways. It'll either be they'll give them pride in the badge and they'll beat Celtic. And I mean, how many old firms are still?
Oh, there'll be two, I think, to play. No,
that's the thing. I know they're 13 points behind, right? But two old firms still to go. Goes down to 7. Nah. We've beat them.
I don't think there's a question about where the.
But I just find that that is literally a case of fuck this season. Like, get this season in the fucking bin.
What's even more mental, and I don't really want to talk about them for too much longer, but is they just no long handed Clement a 4-year deal. So they're going to be paying a pretty penny to.
Well, if you believe the rumours, he was getting 50 grand a week.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
So that's why he didn't. That's why he didn't walk away. He was a true Rangers man.
Quite right.
He didn't walk away.
He was pushed away.
Yeah.
Rest in
unlike
peace,
the-
Philippe Clement. You will be forever missed.
Although I did see something quite funny on Saturday. Somebody, when they were leaving Ibrox, they got up and left at about the 75th minute, and they decided to shout, "I didn't even take the fucking subway." Oh, it's and also just off the back of that, props to one of my mates' brother-in-law who put on a treble on Saturday. West Ham, Hibs, and St Mirren.
Wow. It's incredible.
$2,500 off of like £2 or something.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm jealous. I wouldn't have had the cojones to put £1 on that, never mind £2.
No, I wouldn't have even. I've not even got the brain cells to even put that on my betting slip. Ken, just when you add stuff to your bet slip to see how the odds look, and you're like, right, I'll delete that.
Yeah.
I didn't even have the balls to even look at it. Never mind put it on.
Oh well, I never bet on Hibs anyway because it's just a conflict of interest, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Right. Listener questions wrapped up. Let's have a wee look ahead to Wednesday because we've got. I feel like I say this every week, but it's another massive game, Craig.
It
Tannadice
is.
on Wednesday night. We have got Dundee United away. I'm stalling because I'm trying to find out what the table looks like. But it's going to be tough. They're on a half decent run of form at the moment. Obviously, got the win at the weekend. But if we beat them on Wednesday night, we could go above them.
They'd only won. You say they were on a half decent run of form, but they'd actually lost 4 on the bounce, and they'd only won 1 and 7.
Well,
With
I'm
6 of them being
rambling
losses.
because I was trying to load the table up, to be honest.
And it's one of those that you actually look at it and you go, how the fuck are they in Aberdeen still above us with the run that we've been on? When
Because we were so bad at the start of the season. Dundee United
Yeah.
have just they've just been a wee dark horse.
they've hit
Slotted
one of their
themselves right in.
wee walls, but massive game. We can take. I think we can take a lot of heart for the fact that we've, since that Celtic game, been on an unreal run. Majority of those, games that we've played have been wins as well. Our record up there recently
Isn't he
hasn't
great?
been too great, but full faith in this team because the thing is as well that it's not just the carrot of jumping above them and getting closer to
Getting away from St
third.
Mirren. If they've
Hearts
got
and St Mirren are playing each other. Aberdeen have got Celtic, so it's a good chance for us to not only get ourselves closer to third, but also give us proper momentum going into Sunday's game as well.
I think it's good as well because I reckon whatever happens in the St Mirren Hearts game, if Hearts beat St Mirren or St Mirren beat Hearts, it keeps them still
Further away from us,
an arm's length.
it keeps
away
one
from
of them. Keeps one of them at arm's length.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
ideally you
whoever-
want that to be a draw. Hibs to win, Aberdeen to get beat, and then it would take us up to 40 points, a point behind Aberdeen.
Yup. And also 5 ahead of St Mirren and 6 ahead of Hearts.
Yeah. And I think then we just need to make sure that we're catching the teams. But if we can come away on Wednesday night with, I don't think a point is going to be good enough for us. I think we really need to win.
Yeah, we do.
I think we need to win. I'm taking it week by week because there's no point in looking too far ahead. But we need to win on Wednesday, and we need to win on Sunday. And not even just because we're playing Hearts and you want to win a derby. We need to win because if we don't, then we are getting dragged then back towards
the bottom 6.
St Mirren, Hearts, County, Kilmarnock, Motherwell are all kind of close to us.
It is so tight. I mean, you look at that, there's 6 points separating us and 10th.
There's 10 points separating us and 11th.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it can easily turn, and I think especially if we can win, I think if we win on Wednesday, I know there'll still be 5 games to go, but I think we'll be pretty. I'd be more confident of us finishing in the top 6 if we win on Wednesday, depending on the outcome of the Hearts and St Mirren result as well.
Yeah,
If us and St Mirren both win on Wednesday, I think it might be too big a gap for probably Motherwell and Kelly to try and catch. The next ones you'd be looking at are Ross County and Hearts. But it does. It gives us a real chance to sort of solidify that top 6 spot. And then when the split happens, you never know. I'd much rather be playing in the top 6 with something to play for
than in the bottom 6 with fuck all.
In the bottom 6 going away to fucking Kilmarnock with 3 folk and probably drawing or losing.
Yeah, I really think that there's a massive chance that we get third this season as well.
We've gave ourselves the best opportunity.
We just need to make sure that we're doing what we can do, and that was the main thing that I took away from Saturday was, yes, everyone else won, but we did our bit. We got our points on the board, and that's all that we can affect.
Yeah, because depending on how the top 6 was to go, I mean, we'd need to go up the top. We'd need to go to Celtic Park. We'd be at home to Rangers. We'd need to go to Pittodrie. We'd be at home to Dundee United. We'd be at home to St Mirren.
Yeah.
And if Hearts got in, we'd be away to Tynecastle.
Mm-hmm.
So, listen, all we can do, we've given ourselves the best opportunity, and we just need to keep doing what David Gray says, going for the team ahead of us.
Can you see us coming away from Tannadice on Wednesday with a win?
It'll be tough, but if they hadn't have got that win on Saturday to give them a bit of a boost, given the run they've been on, I would have said yes. But based on we got an unlikely 3 points on Saturday, I wouldn't turn your nose up at a point.
Really?
If I'm being brutally honest, yeah. I wouldn't turn your nose up at it.
I think we need to come out.
It's another one of those. Points. It's another one of those. It's a must not lose rather than a must win. I think a point is better than none especially at this stage of the season.
Well, a point would keep us in 5th regardless of what happens in St Mirren Hearts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, an Aberdeen are at Celtic, you said.
Aberdeen are playing Celtic, aye.
So it wouldn't be the most catastrophic. If Aberdeen got beat against Celtic, we got a draw against Dundee United, and St Mirren Hearts, doesn't really matter what happens there.
Yeah, we're no worse off.
If we don't lose, beat Hearts then on Sunday.
Yep.
I don't know. We just need to take it game by game, and as cliche as that sounds, I tell you what, it's fucking exciting. And it's exciting for the first time in a long time. And I'll tell you what, it'll even be exciting for your county fans, Killie and Motherwell, and probably Dundee fans and all. Like it's exciting for everybody.
I think the most exciting part is that we look like we're finally getting rid of St Johnstone.
Didn't count your eggs before they've hatched, please.
Which I would be more than delighted about.
I know, but Livingston will just come right back up.
Aye, but they're just along the road.
No, I'd rather Falkirk though.
No, I fucking hate Falkirk.
I don't like Falkirk either, but
absolutely despise them. Their stadium is shite. Their pies are shite. Their fans are shite.
Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la. Oh, God.
Fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's bad,
But no, it is, and it's nice to be given where we were fucking when the clocks went back.
Exactly, yeah.
It's nice to be where we are as we approach the clocks going forward.
Yes. And do you expect Alisana Mane to be back involved again?
I'd go with the same team that started on Saturday. The tiredness will probably be a factor, but the momentum that you can get and the adrenaline that comes off being on a run like this outweighs it.
Yeah.
Before we welcome the Tramps on Sunday.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be watching in the house, and it's good for everyone else, all the Ramblers, because it's actually a double Ramble week. So you're getting today's podcast, and then Sean and I will be back on Wednesday as soon as the final whistle's gone to talk about the goings on at Tannadice, regardless of the result. We'll talk to you about that and look ahead to Sunday as well. And then obviously after Sunday's game, we'll have a debrief of the derby early next week. But as we approach the end of this episode, I just want to say a big thanks to Craig for joining me this afternoon. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you again. It's been nice to remember what your voice sounds like and what your face looks like.
It's been nice to take a break from a busy schedule.
Yeah, very, very busy at the moment, aren't you?
I've been absolutely swamped.
Picking your arse and clipping your toenails and the rest of it. But yeah, if you've got this far, listen, thanks very much for listening. If you don't already, get us on the socials. If we're on the social, we'll be at the Hibs Ramble. You can get us there. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all the rest of it. And
go and have a look at Liam's very creative alternative angles.
Yeah.
They're very entertaining.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed making that one. I wanted to make one to the Kendrick Lamar.
It was. You seem to get the KSI for the disallowed goal was good. The Rocky on the second watch, I didn't click. It was actually the Rocky theme tune when Rocky was belting back, and then the Alexis McAllister laugh always gets me.
I think he's so funny, man. But yeah, go and check them out if you haven't already. If I do say so myself, they're pretty funny. And if we win on Sunday, then I might just.
And as someone who hates to give you any credit whatsoever for anything, I need to give you your flowers for that because they are good.
Yeah, no, they are good. I'm very good at what I do. That's just a by the by. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we will catch you after the Dundee United game on Wednesday. Bye bye.
Let's get ready to rumble.